Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to another edition of the Plant Room. I want to start today's video by saying thank you to the community. You guys are awesome. You're the reason why I keep coming back to make these videos. So, to get started, today I wanted to visit the Scindapsus family. I have 3 on my table here to show you. And if you like this type of content, stick around. All right, guys, as I mentioned in the intro, today we're going to talk a little bit about Scindapsus. I have got 3 up here. I've got the Silveran, I've got the Exotica, and I've got the Moonlight. Now, all 3 of these plants are living in 3 different types of conditions. This one lives under a grow light on the plant wall. This one lives right here in the plant room, and this one lives in the kitchen. And the one thing that I found about all 3 of these is that they can adapt to any type of environment. So I'm saying that to say they don't require high humidity, although, excuse me, being a tropical plant, I'm sure they would love a little bit of extra humidity, but it's not needed. So we'll start with the first one, the Silveran. So I've had this plant for a little while. I purchased this one from Home Depot. It was a tiny little thing, you know, the ones you get like for $5.99 in the little cups. And it used to live in my office upstairs. Then she moved to the kitchen, and now she lives in the living room under a grow light on the wall. What I found about this plant is that she doesn't like to go dry. For the most part, she's super easy to care for. She does like to receive bright and direct light, and when she doesn't get enough light, she throws out runners. All of these do. She propagates really easy, and I brought this one here because this is a cutting from this plant. And as you can see, she's been in here for maybe about a month, and look at the root system. Now, she's currently in moss, so I propagated this in moss, and the whole goal of propagating her was not to create another plant, although I might, but my original intent was to propagate it and put it back in this pot to make a bigger plant or a fuller plant. But this is one that you should look into. It's very similar to the pothos in care. She's easy to care for in that water, bright light, fertilize in the growing season, and she's a pleasure to look at. The detail in her leaves with the little spots and stuff, that's really cool. Like a pothos, but a little different. They can be slow to grow when they're not getting what they need, which is the bright light. And you'll know, because if she's not getting that bright light, she'll throw out those runners, and that's an indication that she needs a little bit more light. So moving right along, put this one back here, and let's look at the Pictus Exotica. Now, this one is one of my favorites. I love, love, love the leaves. Very similar to this one as far as the coloration, but the leaves are so much bigger. Now, with this one, I will say that she is a little bit slower to grow. She doesn't grow as quickly as a pothos, but look at these leaves. I'm okay with her growing slow. You know, with all of the plants I have, if she grows too fast, then I have to find someplace else to put her. But she is just a joy to grow. The lights, she receives ambient light. She lives right back here next to the cabinets, and the light that she gets is mostly from those cabinets and whatever ambient light comes in through the windows. I would say that she puts out a leaf a month, if that. As you can see, she's got one growing here. And what I've done with this one is I don't know if we can get in there, and I don't want to tip her too much, but I've taken one of those strawberry clips. You see right here? Yeah, right there. I don't know. Can you see that? And what I've done is push the vine in, in hopes that she'll root there and put out another growth point. And what I've noticed is that she is anchoring her roots in the soil, and that's good because I'd love for her to get a little bushier. But I think she's very pretty the way she is right now. I'm sure that if you wanted to, you could probably put this on a pole and she would definitely climb up because she's got those aerial roots right there and they're actually looking for something. But I'm not interested in putting her on a pole. I like the way she looks just growing willy-nilly the way she's doing right now. As far as care, as I mentioned, the ambient light from the cabinets, I water her about once a week and she gets fertilized weekly. With every watering. Other than that, I haven't had any pest pressures. I haven't noticed anything strange on her. So super easy to care for. I would say it's a pretty good beginner plant. You know, if you want something different other than a pothos or a ZZ plant, this might be one to look into. I think you would enjoy growing it. I've had this one since 22 and she was tiny with like 3 or 4 leaves. So you could see since September of 22, she hasn't grown very much, but I'm okay with that, like I mentioned before. And then this is her cousin. So this is a Moonlight. And again, here's an example of what I mean with the runners. Where'd it go? Yeah, there it is. So you see how she's got a couple of leaves here and now she's put out this long runner. To me, I don't know what anybody else thinks, but to me that is an indication of she needs more light. Now this is the one that lives in the kitchen and she sits in the west window, but we've got these huge trees. So the light that comes in is towards the end of the day and is very filtered. So she does get light, but I don't think she's getting enough light. Every time I turn around, she's got another runner coming out. But all in all, what I do is I just cut the runners out and she'll push out, you know, another vine with some leaves. I like this one because I love the color of the leaves. Again, I think with this family of plants, it's the leaf that gets me. So this one is a little different in that the silver is more like it's painted on versus splatted on. And that to me is pretty. It's got that silver blush on the leaf. This one, I recently repotted to this self-watering pot. I noticed that she was getting dry way too often for me. So now I can actually water her about every 7 to 10 days. And I don't leave that reservoir full, but I do leave a little bit of water in there just in case I'm a little slow on the watering. And if you notice, I think this one would probably benefit from a little bit of extra humidity because if you look at the tips, we can see that little browning right here on the tip of the leaves. And that's typically an indication of the humidity levels. But again, she's doing really well in the kitchen. She does get some humidity, obviously, when we're cooking, you know, boiling water, things of that nature. That releases some humidity into the air. But she might prefer to be in this room, except there's no space for her. So she lives in the kitchen and she's happy there. She's always been there. But again, another plant that I would suggest for beginners that are looking for something easy to care for. The care is very similar to a pothos, but it's just got something a little different than a pothos. And it'll grow your collection a little larger. Huh? My husband's saying the soil. So all of these are planted in a chunky aeroid mix. You know, when you think about it, they are kind of aeroidish. That's not a word. That's a Husta word. And I do think that they benefit, even though their roots are a little bit thicker, they would benefit from something that drains a little quickly. Yeah, it's mostly, I've mentioned this before, it's cocoa chips, perlite, I've got cocoa, peat, charcoal, a little bit of worm casting, and some systemic Okay, he keeps breaking my concentration. But anyway, I think he's saying that he's going to list it for you. Anywho, so these are the 3 plants that I wanted to show you today. Oh, and just to show you, this is a propagation from this plant. This was really, really, really slow to grow. This propagation has been in here for, I want to say about 6 months. Until recently, it was just those 3 leaves down there. I thought it would never put out any new growth. But just recently, and nothing has really changed. I think I moved her up a little bit on the shelf that she was on, so she's getting a little bit more light. Again, light plays a huge factor. And this one I propagated directly into soil. And as you can see, she's developing a nice root system here. And just like the pothos, these are super easy to root. So great gifts for friends if you're looking to, a housewarming present for your planty friends. These propagate really, really well. So yeah, these are the Scindapsus I have. Super easy plant to grow, ambient humidity, easy to care for. They like bright and direct light. And I highly suggest them, especially for a beginner that's looking for something other than the common plants that are typically recommended, like the pothos, the ZZ. Step outside of your comfort zone. There are other plants out here that you can grow, I guarantee you. So if you like this type of content, don't forget, like, subscribe, and comment. Growing the community. Thanks, guys, for spending some of your time with me. Hope to see you again real soon. Bye.